Hello and welcome to the Sal Licata Show, a podcast that's available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Daily episodes. Each week we try to come out with 5 episodes, so we're having fun getting started. Today's episode 6, and it's really like I don't know about a bonus episode, but a different episode. Instead of me coming on giving you a monologue and going on about the Yankees or the Mets or the Giants or whatever, we'll get into plenty of the sports talk, but we did the BT and Sal live show last night. I mean, I'm assuming most of you know that I used to do the show with Brandon Tierney on the fan on the middays. And, since I decided to make my last show December 12th, BT stayed on a little bit after that. Fan made the decision, bring back Craig Carton and no longer have BT and Sal. We have not done a show together. We've only seen each other at A-Rod's Christmas party since December 12th. And then, BT set this plan in motion to do a live show. And that happened last night in Jersey in Red Bank. And I got to tell you, it was incredible. I don't know what I was expecting. I was more anxious, nervous, also very excited to do a show in front of a live crowd, but I've never done one on my own like that. I've been a part of the Boomer and Geo lives. I've done some stuff up on a stage, for SNY, doing panels at Fanatics Fest or the QBC, Queens Baseball Convention, but this was different because this was a show that no longer exists. And, so to many extents, the show failed. And at least in the people who put the show together, in their minds, it wasn't good enough to decide keeping it on the fan. And, hadn't done, like I said, the show with BT in over a month after doing shows together for 2.5 years. And, it's in Jersey, you're selling tickets for it, and who knows about the prices. And, we really do appreciate everybody who drove down there, whether you're from there, whether you're from wherever, to go down there. People were saying they flew from Florida, drove from Connecticut, drove from Syracuse. It was wild to talk to a bunch of people who were there. And we appreciate greatly, people willing to spend money, whatever it was, to go watch a show that they used to get for free 5 days a week, 4 hours a day. So that was not lost on us. And I was just like, oh, are people going to be interested? Are they going to want to do this? And, you get there and the setup is incredible. There's like a legit backstage. You go rehearsal and I'm like, wow, this is just weird. It's not, you don't just walk into a studio and turn on the mics and go talk about it. So there was a lot of pressure to perform and make sure you deliver for people who paid for that ticket and wanted to make sure that they got, a good show. You can't just go on there to me and just talk sports. So there was a little more planning that goes into it, whatever. But the beginning, and Mike Martucci set the whole thing up, and we should credit him here too. So BT knows him from doing the travel that he's done with the Jets getaway. And I've known actually Martucci before he really knew who I was, back when he was doing stuff with Francesa many years ago, traveling. I remember traveling a couple of Super Bowls with Mike and Martucci with Big Blue Travel. Anyway, point is, he was giving some advice on where we should leave from and where we should enter from. And right out of the gate, you're nervous and you're getting set and you're seeing the people walk in and the stage, the seats filling up. And they decided to have us come in the back entrance through the crowd. And man, when I tell you, when the song hit, that we did the BT and Sal Open and Martucci introduced us, and I'm not saying it was a ton of people, it was whatever, 400 people. I'm not even sure how many people there, but the place went nuts, and it was a weird feeling. Usually we're just looking across the side of the glass and you get Dove and Hoff who don't give a shit about what we're doing. You got to wake them up. It's just like the mundane, okay, what are we talking about today? Okay, here we go. The energy that we both felt with the intro and the crowd and walking through the crowd and high-fiving everybody and thanking them for coming and then getting up on stage and doing our thing. I'll tell you, man, that was still kind of on a high from it. It just happened, a few hours ago. I didn't get home till like 12 or 1, whatever it was. What a freaking experience. So I can't be more thankful to really anybody. I understand a lot of people couldn't make it, whether it's location, whether it's not wanting to pay the money for the tickets, whatever. We understand that. Everybody who made it, we appreciate, and everybody who's ever listened to or supported the BT and Sal show, we appreciate it very much. Who knows if we could do more of those. But so now some notes from the actual show, mainly with Aaron Boone, who I got to tell you, I never want to become friendly with players or managers and all that stuff because it does impact the way that you could potentially deliver opinion on them. And that's my job, is to deliver the opinion. So pick a player. It could be anybody. Timo Perez. I don't know why he popped into my head, but he did. If I met Timo Perez and became boys with him, would I be as critical? Being like, dude, come on, you got to score on that. What are you doing? You got to be paying attention. You get thrown at home in game one of the 2000 World Series, something I still talk to Todd Zeal about to this day. But anyway, if you were to become legit friends with some of these people, it might impact the way that you do your job, and we can't have that happening. But Aaron Boone, just by circumstance, I mean, the way that we developed a relationship with him was that I don't know if it was something I said on SNY or on the fan. Could have been both. I was calling Boone a data applicator, saying that he, just applies the data. One night, a caller on the overnight called and mentioned something about, applying analytics, whatever. I was like, yeah, you're right. They're not managers. They're data applicators. And then I started calling Boone that, and I think he saw it on SNY, I'm pretty sure. And it bothered him. And he reached out to Andy Martino, who he knew from covering the team, and told him, hey, tell that guy Licata, blah, 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 whatever. And then that kind of started, that was the first mention. I was like, oh, wow, Boone knows who I am. He watches or he listens to me on the fan, whatever. And then there was another incident, nothing bad, but just like one time, hey, tell him this or whatever. And I was like, why don't you just tell Boone to call me? Put him in touch with me, and we'll just do this directly instead of Andy being the middleman. And he did. And Boone, I know what it was. It was that he was listening to the card game that BT and I did. That was the second thing. He got note to somebody. I don't know if it was Evan and Tiki or Marash, or it was both, and Martino. All of those guys, he was saying, he told multiple people, hey, tell those guys I want to come do that card game with them, the pull your card with BT and Sal. And then Martino put me in touch with him, and we had a good conversation. He decided to come in studio, and now the rest is great history for us. He became friendly with both BT and me, and we've had conversations with him. And then BT reached out to Boone asking him to do this live show. I was like, yeah, I'll do the live show if you want. Like, whatever, dude. Show's getting canceled, but you want to do a live show? I'm fine. If you set it up and you think people will come, I'm fine with it. Then he reached out to Boone and got Boone to commit to it. And now I was like, oh, shit, this is real. It's going to happen. So, okay, I got to start getting my mind right for what we're going to do and all that stuff. So BT should get credit for facilitating that whole thing. But Boone, think about this. To take time out of his busy schedule and come down to Red Bank, New Jersey from Connecticut, I mean, that's something that we can never thank him enough for. And he did it at a time where he knew we needed it. Like, you really find out who your real friends are when, shit hits the fan and you need to. Bada booms, you like that one. When shit hits the fan and you need, some people like you just because the power of the microphone and, you're on the fan and you can help me. So let me pretend that we're friends. And that is a real thing. So you really find out when you no longer have that power of the WFAN microphone, who's your true friends. And Aaron Boone is certainly one of them. And the fact that he would commit to come down there and hang out with us and had no time limits. He was there early watching us do the first part of the show. He hung out on stage, came on and said, I'm here as long as you guys need me. Hung out for a meet and greet, signed some autographs for people who asked. That was not supposed to be in the plan. All of the above. So my point is, it's going to be, I may have to retire the data applicator thing at the very least, or the Yankee Department of Nerds, because I knew he was a little sensitive to that. We busted his chops about that. Even brought that up on the stage last night. I told him, tell me why I'm wrong in the analytics. And he explained all that stuff. And, saying he's less analytical with his decisions than a lot of others. But if you don't apply analytics, you're just not paying attention, which I agree with. But because he was so kind, and we're now, we've become legitimate friends, I might have to lay off on the data applicator stuff. And more importantly, because I'll be fair, I'll criticize him if he has a bad move. And Boone would criticize himself. He knows that. See, that's part of the game. We've been friends for a while, and we still criticize him. So I just say that it's harder for me. I grew up hating the Yankees. And now I love the manager of the Yankees. So there's no way I'm rooting against them. Not saying I got to necessarily root for them, especially against the Mets. I think he understands that. But I would love to see a guy who's done a lot for me personally. I'd like to see him have the ultimate success. So what just a wild bada booms. Before I get into some of the things that Boone said as it pertains to the Yankees, as a huge mark for the BT and Sal show yourself, do you, Do you couldn't make it down there. I know we were trying to get you there last minute. You had other stuff going on, but you have any questions about anything from the live show? Maybe something that I'm not thinking about that could enhance this podcast here? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing I want to say is, don't worry. I have learned from my mistakes. I have come back a better man today. I'm asking questions based on your question to me. I want to get that out of the way. By the way, what a lovely morning, Sal Licata. It's great to have you here.
Stop fucking filling. You didn't learn.
No, I did. I did.
You're
I
like
did.
Joe Pesci in My Cousin Vinny, where he's like, I think I get the point. I don't think you do. I ask you a question and you still start with the filler. Oh, by the way, good morning, Sal. I think I understand what you're saying. No. I asked you a question. Just answer it. Cut out all the fat. Just get to it.
My cousin Vinny, Marissa Tomei.
Tremendous. I'm a huge fan.
Everybody's first love.
I have a note, Bottoms. We're not going to do this today, but at some point down the road, maybe episode 12 or 13, women that you'd risk it all for. She might be on top of my list, but Jessica Alba.
Because Marissa Tomei, 100%.
Yeah, she's up there for sure. Jessica Alba as well. Anyway, let's move on because I'm going to get distracted with that. Now, answer the question. Do you have any questions about BT and Sal Live?
2 questions, actually, to make it distinct. First one is, did you tell Boone what I said? Did you tell him anything I said to, send it along?
I did not, but you have to understand. First of all, I don't even remember what you said. But you have to understand it was very busy and chaotic there, even backstage before when we saw him, and then we saw him during, and then after, and the meet and greet. But I promise you, I will get you to talk to Boone, whether it's through me, some questions that you have, or I'll put you in contact with. Just ease in here. Ease in. But yes. What was the question you wanted me to ask him?
Well, I just wanted you to relay to him that you're an idiot. Remember that?
Okay, for what?
Well, he's one of the great culture guys in the history of New York sports. But I do have a serious question. Yeah. Were there any good meet and greet stories that you had from fans, whether it be positive or funny or negative?
Yeah, there are a couple. First of all, there were people heckling on I don't know about BT and I. In the beginning, maybe some people were yelling a little bit, but I don't know. You could barely hear because it's so the lights are really in your face on stage. You could barely hear. You can't see where it's coming from. But Boone, some people are like, get a leadoff hitter, or that was just me yelling at him. By the way, remind me to tell you this story. I'm going to answer your question and then remind me to tell you this story.
Yeah, look who's doing the thing now. How the turns.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm doing exactly what I told you not to. There was one guy who was on stage for the meet and greet afterward because there was a line. You had to wait in the line, and then you go up, take your picture, say hello, whatever. And he was wearing a Los Angeles Dodgers 2024 World Series T-shirt. And even some of the crew was like, come on, get the hell out of here with that stuff. But Boone was like, no, bring him on. And then we took the picture with him because Boone had his head down and was not smiling for the camera, not looking at it. That was one that was a good sport. Some people telling touching stories about how, oh, Aaron, we met you and you helped out with my son or this or that. Or people telling BT and I they flew up from Florida. But that was probably the best one, I think, that was controversial, was the guy who was wearing a Dodger 2024 Dodgers World Series thing. By the way, Boone beat me in the pull your card. He finally got a win on the board. He actually crushed me in it. And I was like, oh, that's all right. You just got on a heater like the Blue Jays did, against you in the postseason. And he's because he's been saying, well, we think we're good. We think we're as good as anybody else. They just got on a heater. So when he was beating me in the card game, I was like, it's all right. You're just on a heater. Anything else, Bada Booms, before I get to that story that I want to tell about Booney?
The problem is they're never good enough. So, no, I feel like the audience would like to know, other than that, what did it sound like? Because you mentioned it a little bit. You compared it to something specific that I want you to say on air. You said you got a something level quality pop. I want you to say that again.
Yeah, dude. It sounds ridiculous to say, I was talking about it, Booms, after the show. I'm like, dude, it felt like Cena entering at WrestleMania. But the pop, you just wanted me to. Do not cut that up because that sounds ridiculous. But I'm telling you.
I know. I'm going to use it for content. That's why I wanted you to say it.
In perspective, with the few hundred people there in the crowd, when they introed us, you could feel the energy of it. I'm telling you, dude, it was real, which is something I've never experienced before. And I've been introduced to live crowds. It never felt like that. And then the biggest pop, and we have video of this somewhere. We got to cut it out. Ryan Chichester came out and helped us out. and took a lot of video. Not that he videoed the whole show, but he was definitely recording some things. When I did the King Cohen bit, we wanted to get all our moves in. We wanted to get all our bits in and structured
Get your
stuff.
stuff in, if you will.
So we started the show with just talking about like where we've been at and what happened at the Fan, and we were finally getting in a groove and whatever happened. And then I was like, all right, before we get into the sports, I feel like something's missing. And he's like, BT's, what's missing? And I got up and went backstage, and then BT was playing with the crowd a little bit, throwing some balls into the crowd, whatever. And I went to get the King Cohen garb, my cape, my crown, whatever. And the guy hit the music, the Harley race theme. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that skit that we did, Bada Booms. Anytime like Steve Cohen would have a tweet, and I did the King Cohen bit.
I think it was Jerry the King, not to interrupt you.
We hit the old WWE, then WWF King Harley race theme. Anyway, so he hits that, and I walk on stage, and dude, there was a legit pop, at least in my mind. Now, I'll be honest, I could be off, but in my mind, I felt the crowd really respond well to it. So, yes, that was one thing there.
One good one came to me while you were going over it.
Go ahead.
You guys didn't have a fatty that got dipped in cheese this time?
No. No. And to your point, like Boomer and Gio have all these different skits, whether it's Marash or Paul Schwartz or whatever, having all these. And I was like, man, we're not.
Pete Schwartz, come on.
What'd I say? Paul Schwartz? Peter Schwartz. I'm sorry. Paul Schwartz, because the Giants are on my mind. He covers the Giants for the Post. Peter Schwartz out there. I was at that show that he was getting pasted with the marshmallow stuff. I believe that was the one that I was at on Long Island. Anyway, they do a different show than we did, and they put on a really big thing. And for us, it was like, hey, our show is primarily sports. Like I said, I think we made it entertaining and got the crowd involved with a bunch of different things. Overall, it was a fun night. All right, so let me tell you now the story about the night before. And this is why I know I have a relationship. And you could, I'm going to hand wave you, Bada Booms. You could listen to this one. Center me up. Get out of here. So the night before the live show, and this just shows you like the relationship with Boone right now. I'm on the train back from SNY. We just did baseball night in New York. And I see Aaron Boone calling, but I couldn't pick it up because I was on the train. I'm not going to answer that. And I'm like, I'm thinking he's going to bust my balls and be like, oh, sorry, dude, I can't make it tomorrow, which obviously would have ruined the entire thing. Like, they would have torpedoed everything. So I'm like, when I get in the car, I call him back, hey, Booney. And he just chews me out. Why are you saying we don't have a leadoff? Just reaming me about calm down. You're getting the Sal loud voice about the leadoff hitter and defending Trent Grisham, talking about his OPS. And I'm like, yeah, but what about in the playoffs? Like, that's the thing. Yeah, you had a nice year. You need a real leadoff hitter, like a contact guy. I know the numbers. I saw it with Grisham. That was good in the regular season. What about the playoffs? And he's like, well, it was only 4 games. I'm like, well, that's not my fault that you guys only lasted 4 games. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? You need a real leadoff hitter. So his point, and it was a good one. Like, sometimes when I just go on, I'll be like, hey, they need a leadoff hitter. They don't have one. Instead of saying it that way, I probably, and we had a good conversation for that, 10-minute whatever conversation, but that just shows you Booney, passionate, defending his team and trying to also educate me or BT or whoever in the process. He's like, I hear the same shit from you and BT about the leadoff hitter. And then he was hearing it last night. As a matter of fact, I get to the event last night and these security guards are like, man, Yankees really need a leadoff hitter. I'm like, I know. I'm trying to tell you, just don't say it too loud because Booney might hear you. He's in the next room getting ready. So his point, and it was a good one. Trent Grisham in the regular season was a tremendous leadoff hitter for the Yankees. The OPS, whatever, you could reference all that, but we watched it. He had, what do you have, 30-something home run? I mean, a ridiculous season. My issue is that, and this is what Boone was saying, if you're going to say that you don't believe he could do it again, that's fine. And I didn't say that. I just said get a real leadoff hitter, which is not 100% the right way to say it. The way to say it is the Yankees leadoff hitter last year in the regular season was terrific with Trent Grisham. Now, he's never done that before, performed to that level, so I don't think he's going to do it again, but he was great a year ago. Can he do it again? The issue was postseason. That's where I'm looking. The regular season, the Yanks got that on lock. Like, the Yanks are on cruise control for the most part in the regular season. All right, they may hit some bumps along the road, but they're always in the playoffs. That does remind me when Boone was going through the years and talking about like which one hurt more. And, I think we were good this year and really, 2022, we were good, but got hurt last year. He was saying that was the best he thought his team was, especially because they were healthy at the end of the season into the playoffs, which made it hurt even more. And some guy in the crowd yells out, what about 2023? What happened? And that was the one year the Yankees don't make the playoffs. But for the most part, the Yankees make the playoffs every single year. So the regular season is not the issue. It's the postseason. And Grisham has, and Boone brought this up to me too. He goes, well, Grisham killed your Mets in 2022 with the Padres. Yes, I remember, Booney. I was there for that. Thank you. It's not saying he can't have success in the postseason. It's just saying that he didn't have success in the postseason when he had a great regular season, similar to what Luke Voit did in 2020. And those things prevent you from getting to and winning a World Series. When guys who perform like MVPs, and Luke Voit was the Yankees MVP in 2020, and outside of Aaron Judge, who's an MVP every year, he's fully healthy. Even if he's not healthy, he's still the MVP. If not him, Trent Grisham, arguably one of the MVPs for the Yankees. Maybe not even arguably, he was one of the MVPs of the Yankees. And that performance from the regular season into October wasn't there, and it's one of the reasons the Yankees fell short. So Boone was trying to explain himself. And look, the Yankees may not be done. He alluded to that. As far as, you know, their offseason goes, maybe they make another move and add an outfield bat, maybe a right-handed bat, whatever it may be. Maybe they get a hammer in the bullpen, like he would like to say. Those would be the words he would use. So I don't think the Yankees are done necessarily, but I think you're pretty much looking at, outside of some trade that maybe is not there at the moment, maybe Jazz becomes, somebody wants Jazz. I'm not 100% sure of what's going on with that, but I don't think the Yankees are complete yet. But I think they feel comfortable that they're better than they were a year ago with the health of the rotation, Cole coming back, expecting guys to perform well. Boone is very high on Ben Rice, saying he's going to have a monster year, and he's going to be the first baseman. I was like, you told me he was catching last year. This is where it's funny. Like last year, I go talk to him, and I'm like, what are we doing with Rice? He looks like he can't catch. What do you mean he can't catch? We love the way he calls a game. Blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but he can't. The pass balls, the arm, like he's not a catcher. I've watched baseball my whole life. I know you've been in baseball. I'm like, he's not a catcher. Oh, he can catch, blah, blah. And now what is it this year? He's primarily first baseman. He's really not going to catch that muscle. Yeah, well, you think? I was trying to tell you guys. I am available for hire if you need advice in that front office. Anyway, so Ben Rice is going to be catching, and they're expecting, as they should, monster things. I'm not sure where he's going to be in the lineup. I think there's a chance he hits leadoff. Boone didn't answer this, but I asked him it, and he didn't stick to Grisham specifically. I was like, well, is he going to be leadoff? When he was talking about Ben Rice, we expect him to be on lock this year and be a beast. I was like, leadoff? And he's like, it's not even February yet. I'm like, I know, Skip, but I want answers. So anyway, Ben Rice, monster year. I mean, when you look at it, Judge in right, Grisham in center, Bellinger in left, probably a role for Dominguez on the team. We're going to see how the spring goes, but probably a role on the big league team. Caballero is going to be starting at short until Volpe comes back. Volpe's going to have to earn his way because Caballero is a good player. Obviously, McMahon at third base. They're trying to change his, I don't know about, I think it was stance. They shortened him up a little bit, or I forget the exact thing. Him and BT were talking like hitting technique, and I started to fall asleep on the couch. But anyway, they changed a little bit with McMahon, trying to get him going because McMahon's better offensively than we saw with the Yankees. He's not great. He's a strikeout machine. He's a 200 hitter, but he's better than what we saw. He'll run into some more homers this year. So the Yanks like their team, and it's going to be a tough competition in the American League East. Reigning AL champs with the Blue Jays, who on paper, certainly got better with the rotation, adding Dylan Cease. They do lose Bo Bichette. They add Okamoto, I believe his name is. We'll see what the Blue Jays do here the rest of the offseason. They were trying for Kyle Tucker, fell short on him. Didn't seem to have real interest in Bellinger. But, the Yankees won 94 games a year ago, and they're going to say that again. Like, we just, we didn't get hot at the right time. We got caught by the buzzsaw that was the Blue Jays. Let's see if they could do it again. Well, the Yankees trust their roster, and it's hard to argue that when the floor for them is generally 90 wins and in the playoffs. Whereas when we talk about the Mets, it's totally different. The floor for the Mets is 70-something wins and no playoffs. As a matter of fact, that's not the floor. That's the norm. Now, it wasn't quite 78 wins last year, but the norm is getting the Mets over the hump into the playoffs. That's the hard part. The Yankees are always in the playoffs. Getting them over the hump to the World Series, that's their biggest challenge. But it was a great night talking with Boone. I'm going to give you a couple other anecdotes here Bada Booms, pay attention to this one. So after we did all the sports stuff, I was talking to Boone, asking him about what shows he watches. Like, all right, take us some insight. He's a big Eagles fan. I was like, outside of your Eagles, and he was getting the piss booed out of him when he brought up. I brought up the Eagles because I knew it was going to get that reaction, and then Boone kept bringing him up himself. Huge Eagles fan. The crowd was booing the snot. He's like, "Come on, we're close to Philadelphia and Jersey here," but they were still mostly Giants and Jet fans in the crowd last night. So a show that he watches on Netflix, I've never heard of, but now I'm going to get into it. And he said he's rewatched it multiple times. The show Suits. Have you ever heard of Suits, Bada Booms, on Netflix?
For my age, that's a very clown show. Like they kind of reinvented that show, but like people clown it because it's a little like OD. If you know what I'm saying. Do you know what that means?
What's OD? No.
I can't say it on the air, but it's on and then something. Like it's on Johnson, but the other word.
Okay. You're big on the Jan Johnson stuff.
Yeah, well, it's actually Don Johnson and the D is silent. That's.
Are
what it
you
is.
on the air right now? Because I just see you in there.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
But we could just hear your voice. Now we could see you. Because you were big on Johnson guy. Like when we first started talking and you really were lobbying to get this opportunity, you were like, I don't want to be on Johnson. I don't want to be on Johnson. And I never heard that phrase.
You're doing it wrong. It's Don Johnson and the D is silent.
So you were saying I don't want to be Don Johnson?
And the D is silent. Think about it. Think about it. Do the math.
I am thinking about it. I'm still
you
trying
data applicator. Do the analytical breakdown.
All right, so I've never watched the show Suits, but because Boone watches it and binged it, he said multiple times, I want to check it out just to see where his mindset is at. You're going to like the other two that he likes. You ready for this?
Ooh, let's hear it.
He's a big Rocky guy.
Oh, Adrian.
That's not a Netflix show, obviously, to binge. It was kind of like a side note, but I was asking him like what he watches. And yeah, after he said Suits, and I was like, BT and I were like, what the hell is that? Then I was like, well, do you like Rocky at least? And he's like, yeah, he got this Apollo Creed. He was all telling us about all this memorabilia. This guy, he's a big Rocky guy. And he did say, awesome. I think he got bullied into saying, because the crowd, I was like, well, what's your favorite Rocky? And he was thinking about it. The crowd's like, Rocky 4, Rocky 4. He's like, yeah, Rocky 4, but I really like Rocky 2. I think he's in agreement with me. Rocky 2 is the best of all the Rockies.
Possibly the best soundtrack. I like 4 the best, though.
Isn't it weird thinking about, I was just thinking about this as you were answering that, like thinking about the Yankee manager. Like we just know him as a Yankee manager. He's locked in, yelling at umpires. We're savages in the box and whatever, and the World Series, all these different things. And then I think of him just sitting there watching Rocky movies, getting into it, or watching all these TV shows. I love that. I love showing that side of it. The other thing go ahead. You got something here?
No, 2 of New York's biggest, I don't want to say Boone is the biggest star, but he's one of the faces of the Yankees at least, because he's always getting thrown out, and he's a Yankee legend. Him and Brunson. Oh, I think Hart, too. All 3 of them, Philly guys.
Yeah,
what's up with that?
Didn't think. Well, Brunson went to Villanova with Hart. So I don't know if they're not from Philly, right? Brunson was raised, was he in Chicago? I don't know. Anyway.
He was raised in Chicago, yes. That's when Rick was in Chicago.
So, and I'll give you the last one here, Bada Booms.
Mm-hmm.
Boone says that he falls asleep to Seinfeld every night.
Wow.
Now,
are you a Seinfeld guy?
Are you?
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the day, I used to like Seinfeld a lot.
Well, what do you mean back in the day? You're 22. How many back in the days are there for you?
Dude, I feel like I'm 75 for a 22-year-old. Jeez.
Yeah, you do act like that. You are an older 22-year-old. But so seriously, it's okay if you don't like Seinfeld.
No, I do, absolutely.
But I love Seinfeld, and I know like my buddy Vin, we grew up on Seinfeld, and it would always be something we'd have on at night. Like it's always on late, but I love watching Seinfeld go and sleep to it. Booney says he puts earbuds in and listens to Seinfeld as he falls asleep. And guess who's not a Seinfeld fan?
BT. Wow, what a shocker. Oh, wow, I'm stunned that BT's not a Seinfeld guy. Yeah, I don't know if I should say what I was going to say.
That's what don't. That's what I said. I said, Pete, I got to work with this guy for 2.5 years. He doesn't like Seinfeld? Doesn't that show you a character issue?
No, BT's a Sopranos guy, which I appreciate. Like, so am I. I've seen every episode of Sopranos 15 times.
All right, but you can't like Seinfeld. He's on the same. Not only did BT like not ignore Boone saying that, he went right for like, I don't think Jerry's that funny, and I don't think the show was that good. I'm like, yeah, I know.
He said Jerry's not funny?
Yes.
That's wild. Did we have a clip of that?
Somebody might have it, but
Is
yeah,
Jerry
no,
a
you're.
fan of you? Because he's a big Met fan.
I don't know. I've never heard from him, so probably
He
not.
never
I think
called
he's
the
got to.
overnights.
I think he's got to know. I've never. I've only met Seinfeld one time, and that was when he came in studio to visit Steve Summers. This was way back in Astoria, in the Astoria days at the Fan. And I would think it was an intern at the time. He came around and shook everybody's hand
Wow.
in the newsroom. Even as an intern, he's like, "Hi, I'm Jerry Seinfeld. Nice to meet you." I was like, "Jerry Seinfeld, oh my God." Like, I didn't do that. In my mind, I was doing that. But just like I did the same thing, "Oh my God, it's Mike Francesa and Chris Russo." In my mind, I said that, not in reality. But he was very nice. I'm
Stick
sure
'em.
he's, I'm
Sorry.
sure he's watched like me on SNY or see me on SNY and probably heard me on the Fan. But no, I've never talked to him. I hope he might not like me. I think that Seinfeld doesn't like me.
Hmm.
That's what I think.
Did you watch Curb too? I wanted to ask that before.
Yes,
I'm
I
a big.
did. But
I like Curb probably more a little bit because I just think Larry's hilarious and like he reminds me of somebody very prominently in my life. They do the same thing, act the same way.
him I met. Jimmy Traina invited me to a Curb premiere
Big
one
Jeff
year.
fan.
And then there was an after party, yes. And then we went and took a picture with Larry David. He was like, couldn't be less interested. So it was clearly on brand. Like I felt bad asking asking for the picture. He wanted no part of it.
He
Anyway,
called
no, I'm
Mike
a big.
McCagnon.
If I had to pick one, I'm more Seinfeld than
Then Curb.
Kerr, but I love
Mm-hmm.
both. Point is, and thank you, Bada Booms.
Mm-hmm.
Point is, Boone loves Rocky, which we love, and loves Seinfeld, which we love. How can you not like this guy? The one thing missing? A World Series ring. And they're working on that, and we'll see if maybe this is the year. And while I still think the Yankees need a better balance, whether it's a leadoff hitter or just a guy that can, instead of Jazz or McMahon, give me somebody with less power, but more just a gamer, a guy who's going to grind out at bats, less strikeouts, put the bat on the ball a little bit more. But anyway, even with some of the flaws that they have, they still are one of the best teams in the American League, no doubt about it. All right, let's get to Championship Sunday here before we wrap things up. Oh, we got a few minutes left here. So I don't know why. Maybe it's just because the depression is kind of setting in that there are only 3 football games left. And as my buddy Jimmy Traina said on the SI Media podcast, really it's 2 football games and then the one, I forget the exact term, but I'll paraphrase and say the glorified exhibition, which is the Super Bowl on February 8th. I'm not as into, and maybe I will be. We get the big snowstorm coming. People are freaking out. Yeah, I have an award show tonight that I got to go to. So I get that on my mind. I'm just, I had the live show last night, so I haven't really been able to clearly focus on the path ahead as far as Championship Sunday goes. But I will tell you this. I love Denver in this game. Love. Now, we're recording this Friday morning. I love Denver. Things could change. I don't think Stidham's going to be that, I shouldn't say he's going to be that, like Bo Nix is good, and he was playing very well leading up to this championship game, obviously before getting hurt. So he looked good in the postseason in the one game that we saw him last time out there. But I don't think the drop-off is going to be that significant because when I look at the Broncos, the one weak link potentially was the quarterback, was Bo Nix. So even though he's playing better, it's the defense carries them, the run game, the weapons that they have, the schemes, the head coach, the home field advantage. Those all remain in place. And I don't think Stidham's going to be as bad as people make it think. Certainly not to the tune that they're getting 4.5 points from the Patriots at home. And at some point, I feel like the Patriots bubble is going to burst this year. I know they're good. Are they legitimate Super Bowl good already? I don't think so. Give me the Broncos at home plus 4.5. And then I'm going to take, and usually I like to do this, I'll take one home team and one road team, or one favorite and one dog. I know that, like, it's just me. It's just a weird thing. I know that doesn't mean anything. Both home teams could win. Both favorites could win. Both road teams could win. Both dogs could win. I just like balance. I don't know why. Give me the Rams. And that's not why I'm picking the Rams. I think the Rams are a better team. I'm also not buying into Sam Darnold. I'm sorry. I just can't envision. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I can't envision Sam Darnold performing in the Super Bowl. I mean, I just, even saying it, man, Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl, Seattle's legit. Great defensively. They may be just the hottest team in the NFL right now. You saw the way that they just steamrolled the Niners. Home field advantage. That was legit against the Niners. I I just think the better head coach, or at least the more experienced, McDonald's been a good head coach, one of the coaches of the year. But McVay is one of the best coaches in the league, experienced before, many times over in the postseason, getting to multiple Super Bowls, obviously winning one. He's and they're looking for some revenge here, the way that the regular season went. I'll side with McVay and Stafford. I don't care where the game's being played. I'll side with McVay. And they're coming off an impressive win in Chicago in the frigid temperatures. The Rams are freaking loaded. I'll take McVay and Stafford over Darnold and McDonald, regardless of where the game's being played. And I see it as right now, the Rams getting 2.5 points. I think that the Rams are the better team. Give me the Rams to win the game outright. So I guess I'll take the 2.5 points. Rams, Broncos. That's what I think the Super Bowl is going to be this year, heading into Championship Sunday. Are you worried, Bada Booms, about the snowstorm here? People freaking out. Even my wife telling me you got to go to the supermarket. I'm like, I'm not going to the supermarket on Saturday. That's like I'd rather be in Times Square on New Year's Eve than be at the supermarket on Saturday before a snowstorm that's going to put everybody, in peril here and have us all on lockdown for what? Like, people go nuts as if this thing's going to last 3 weeks. It's a day, 2 days. You'll be able to move. Snow plows will come out. The snow will stop. Get your snow shovels. What do you do, Bada Booms? You got your parents getting you out there with the shovel? What's your, because you're not like you're 22. You're not a full adult yet. Mm-hmm. Like, I got a house to run and all that stuff. Got to make sure the thing's plowed. Where are you at with the responsibilities of a snowstorm? How is this impacting you? I'm curious.
I know he's gonna listen to this too, and I know I'm gonna hear myself say this on the TV when I walk in the house after work later. I'm gonna do everything in my power to get outside before my father tries to take the brunt by himself, because he has 2 bad knees at this point. He's a big softball guy later in his years. Look, you do the dog thing with the finger, and I started doing it off camera. I'm gonna try to show the snow, Sal. Sorry, I can cut that out if you want me to. Stick him. I'm going to try to get out there as early as possible. I know he's going to be out there at 6:30 in the morning when the snow hasn't stopped falling, and then he's going to go back out there at 3. He's a workhorse. What can I say? So I'm going to try my best. But are these storms ever really that crazy?
This one's supposed to be pretty bad.
Yeah, but I feel like they always get hyped up. It's like a jet season. It's like, it's April. Here we go. The storm's going to be big. And then by September, it's over.
That's you and BT getting hyped up for the jet season. I mean, come on, every year it's the same thing. It's going to be the year. This is going to be the year. And every year,
do you have a Bada Booms impression? I noticed you have a BT impression.
No, not yet. Not yet. But by the way, you're a good kid. You said the right thing. Like, my father used to tell me to go out there and shovel. And I was like, I don't want to shovel. I hate shoveling snow. It sucked. But that's a good thing that you're doing. Now, will you be home watching the games, Championship Sunday? I mean,
absolutely. Oh, can I do this for you? Because you once again, you doubted Darnold, and I didn't want to cut you off with this because I didn't know where this was at yet. But let's just try it real quick.
Or an absolute idiot.
We'll see in post how that came out there. Once again, you doubt Darnold. Once again,
what are you trying to be, Loogie with the drops here? I mean,
Loogie.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
I like Loogie a lot.
Yeah, that is catchy. All right, you're working in the drops. I respect it. Whatever. I don't love drops necessarily, but yes, I am an idiot at times. We all know that. Do you believe in Darnold, and are you rooting for Darnold?
Absolutely. We went over this last week, but I'm more than happy. And you talked about McDonald before. I am answering the question here. Look at what I just feel like I see clips of McDonald and I'd run through a wall for him. I don't know, something about him.
You like Seattle in this game?
Unfortunate string of words there. But I would say that I don't know. How can you go against Stafford? How? I want Darnold to win. They're home with the 12th man, but it's so tough to go against experience, especially with Stafford's got something to prove. This may be it.
All right, Bada Booms, we got to wrap it up here.
One last question before you.
I get interrupted here by a guest. My daughter burst into the room. Yeah, you can put the headphones on there, Sammy. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. What's your last question, quickly?
Maybe you save it for next week, but I wanted to ask you, what is it like as a fan watching your team in the Super Bowl? It's a genuine question. I want to know. I like asking people who has a perspective.
Good teaser. Let's discuss that next week. All right.
Okay.
That'll do it for episode 6 of the Sal Licata Show. Please download, rate, subscribe, download, whatever, give us the thumbs up. Daily episodes, 5 each week. YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Sammy, say bye. Say bye. Bye.